Hello there. Welcome to the State of Decay 2 stream. I'm your host, Jeffrey Card, and over here we have got everyone's favorite artist, Mark Lautenbach. He is our Dev of the Month this month. We've been collecting questions for him, and he's going to be playing in Nightmare mode with us while trying to answer your questions and trying not to get killed. At the same time, we've also got everyone's second favorite artist, Brant Fitzgerald, who is sitting here.
I don't even think I qualify for that.
He's sitting here next to Mark. He's going to be reading your chat and trying to respond as much as we can.
How many artists do we have here? There's like 10.
All of them.
I would be the 11th favorite artist if we have 10.
So right now, what are you doing, Mark? We got Pepita
Dodging
here.
This guy.
We're trying to we're trying to heroize.
Pepita.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I believe that is a word.
Yeah, hero-wise, absolutely. So we've got 3 characters in our community. Hopefully, if we can recruit some others, that'd be great. But they represent 3 different leader types, and so we want to be able to make a really good decision about what kind of leader we want to have in our Nightmare community. So he's going to level up Pepita, and then we're going to see if we can make a decision.
I love that name, by the way.
Oh yeah, so this is actually, it illustrates one of my favorite parts of having worked on the naming system. Her name is actually Josefa. But she goes by Pepita because I got to learn a bunch of cool Mexican nicknames. Luis Yepes gave me a lot of feedback on the Mexican name list that we came up with. And so we get to have names like this where, somebody, like I had no idea what was a nickname for what south of the border. And so he was able to help me navigate that. I looked on the internet, found a bunch of stuff, and got it all vetted so that hopefully these names all sound authentic to people who actually know the culture. But yeah, so whenever I see a nickname like that, it just sort of like, it makes me happy deep inside.
Mr. Sneak actually gave us the name. We're heroificating.
Heroificating. Oh, there's the real
I
word.
like it.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Sneak.
like it.
So Adrian Lopez asks, are you planning to use photogrammetry or other scanning techniques more heavily in future games?
We'd have to pull Matt Heiniger in, but yes, because it's been so wonderfully successful for us on the character side. We have actually done tests with
Like inanimate objects?
Yeah, inanimate objects. And one of the issues with that, and I won't go really deep into it, but it's an interesting question, is that so much of our art is created by hand and outside of, real world, like taking a picture of something, that when you do photogrammetry and set a photogrammetry created prop next to a prop that we created in-house, it never actually matches up visually that well, and so we have to be careful about that. Like in the future, if we make all of our props using photogrammetry, then that would make sense. But for props right now, on the fence. We'll see.
Yeah, but we definitely, it's hard to move around in the office sometimes without tripping over Matt Heiniger trying to scan something. So he's definitely putting a lot of effort into exploring that technology and seeing what good we can get out of it. So hopefully, we'll find the right places and times to use it that'll make the game even more photorealistic.
Thanks for all the hosts and follows. I know we don't ever really do a good job at thanking you guys for that, but we're just very appreciative of everybody being here and spending part of your day with us and watching Mark. This is Nightmare, correct?
Yeah, we are in Nightmare, and we're early Nightmare, so it's not going to be as hard as some of the things you're going to see on the internet. But K-Sizzle has a question. It's about one of the packs that a bunch of folks who won our mix pot last week. They got all of the promotional packs that came out from different retailers when the game was first released, and one of them is called the SHTF pack. And K-Sizzle wants to know what that stands for. I assumed it was shut the, but no, that doesn't quite work.
Stuff hits the fan.
Stuff hits the fan pack. Okay, thank you. That I was actually wondering that too earlier today, because actually, if you need a vehicle or a weapon or something like that, I've earned all of those packs now too, because I won the mix pot by accident.
Oh boy, look at you. Yeah, SHTF is a big.
It's what you see on screen right now.
Yeah.
It's
actually exactly what's happening on screen right now.
triple. No. Oh, Pepita.
No.
Poor Pepita. Oh, boy.
Jump on top of that car.
I was so careful, and then no.
Suddenly, yeah. Oh, woo! Yes. Well, hey, if
You
you're
might
gotta
be
get,
safe.
getting up somewhere.
You might be safe. Oh,
No,
I'm
no.
not safe.
So much for Pepita as a potential leader for our community. Pepita is dead.
I think it was the uppercut that finally
So,
took me out of the game.
K Sizzle, you were asking if this was nightmare mode. And there
yes.
is your proof.
Awesome Twitch Dude says that they found a survivor named God Mode. Is that a bug? That is not a bug.
It's not a bug.
We've got a lot of weird nicknames in this game. I don't quite remember what triggers a character to have the name God Mode, but look in their traits. There's probably something about them playing or working on video games. Maybe they're a streamer. Something like there's something in that character that gives them an excuse to have the name God Mode.
Fallout Girl, blame Brant is not a correct hashtag in this particular situation. I will own most of those, but that was not me. That was my friend Mark here.
So we've got a couple of questions about backpacks. KNT wants to know how many different backpacks we have in State of Decay 2 so far.
27 billion.
It's a lot. So each category, it's got multiple. Like when I'm scrolling down in Unreal, each type of backpack has got multiple rows across my screen of icons. I'm not sure how many there is, but it's up in the high dozens, many dozens of them. Hansel Adola wants to know if we can get a color preview of the backpacks before you put them on. That is something that is high on my list of notes, actually. I think it would be hard to show you a picture of the backpack. That would be a bridge too far, but it might be possible for us to give you some kind of hint. So without promising anything, that is high on my list because it's something, luckily, that I could actually do by myself without having to ask anybody else for help, I think. The solution I've got in mind, I might be able to just do once I get the time. So right now, I'm in the middle of doing something else that I have to get done by a certain time. So I'm not going to be helping you quite this moment. But at some point in the future, I might be able to pull something off. So we've got a bunch of questions that we've saved up from Mark that came in from social media once he was featured as our Dev of the Month. So let me get into a couple of these. So Mr. Dart wants to know, you mentioned earlier that you have worked on a couple of weapons. He was wondering what your favorite one was to work on.
All right. So we got melee weapons, and then we have
Firearms.
everything else.
Yeah.
So my first weapon that I worked on was the Apocalypse Sword. So I believe it is a Chinese
Oh, yes.
martial arts sword.
Yeah, the Dadao blade or whatever.
Something like that. And
We are
yeah.
linguists here.
Can't pronounce it, but it's a Chinese sword, and it's very flashy and very cool looking, and so it was fun to make it. And yeah, I'm glad they put it in the Apocalypse class. And so not only is it cool looking, it's very functional and sharp. So yeah, that was my first one, and I still think it's my favorite melee weapon.
Though you did a lot of the melee for Daybreak as well.
I did. The ridiculous looking axes and what I call the TIE Fighter hammer.
I could tell you were having fun with those.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we were told, how would an AI make weaponry? And I'm like, I don't even know. I'm not AI. But yeah, that's what I came up with. But as far as other weaponry, so I did the pyro launcher and what was the Star Shanker?
Star Shank
Oh
launcher.
yes, yeah, that's right.
And
I was completely blocked trying to work on those weapons, and I was like, "Hey, Mark,
Brent's like,
take those," and he ran with them and made them brilliant.
it's like, we need a kind of a potato gun, super soaker, firework launcher, go. And I'm like, all right.
And he executed perfectly.
And yeah, it was fun to make, because you're just making stuff up just from the ground floor.
So I've got a question for folks in the chat. So Fallout Girl had a weird thing happen to her the other day that she's still asking us about here in the chat. She had a character who she generated that actually had her first name, and she was really excited about it. And then she came back to the game later, and the character had a different name. And that had never happened to her before, and it has never happened to any of us before. And it's freaking me out because she actually got the next name on the character list. So it feels like it's some kind of technical bug, but I've never seen that happen before. Have any of you seen a character abruptly change their name for no reason? Because it's killing me. I have no idea what could possibly have made that happen. And we need to chase this bug down because Fallout Girl famously never gets characters that are named after her.
She has spent days real days.
She is very sure that we've somehow coded her particular...
Don't. Yeah. No, we would never actually single you out, Fallout Girl, for abuse. Never.
Yeah, and she's still never gotten Fallout, which is a name we put in the game in honor of her.
I do love the fact that all of the friends that she plays with are
They've
like,
all got Fallout?
I'm playing with my Fallout character. Sorry. Hearts.
Snuggles?
Dell, good to see you. Wow. We got some long-time fans.
We got medals in here yet?
JG Buddy had a question for you, Mark. He wants to know how you got your start with Undead Labs.
So, kind of a long story, but this guy. I worked with Brant back at Humongous Entertainment.
23 years.
Yes.
Holy cow.
So, worked there for quite some time. And so we just kept in touch over the years. And at a certain point, Undead Labs needed someone of my skill set. So, I joined up. And originally as a contractor, but they figured my position needed to be full-time, so they made me full-time. So that is how that happened.
And then in between, you and I actually worked at the same studio, too. So, like, you were friends with Brand in one place, friends with me in another place, and now we all get to be together.
Yes. Along with Baranjami.
Oh, yeah.
A whole host of other people that I've worked with before. So
yeah, the Seattle game industry, you end up like working with the same people a lot, going back and forth to different studios. But
yep.
Yeah, that's one of the ways this company started. The first few people here were all people who had like worked cross-pollen. Okay, I won't say that. We worked together in various forms, or everybody who started here had worked with each other at one point or another, and we were lucky enough to be able to recruit people who they were all known entities because we'd all worked with them on and off. And then I'd wanted to get Mark in a long time before we got him, but circumstances were as they were, to the point where finally we were able to snag him, and now we couldn't do it without him. But Mark is in the police station on the wanted posters as are many people from the studio. But Mark is known as the Carpenter.
Yeah, since I make a lot of the houses, or at least do a lot of the art for a lot of the houses and buildings, so apparently I'm the Carpenter.
So Fanbot4 wants to know, what vehicle is that and where did you get it?
That's Independence Pack vehicle?
Yeah, that's the Burninator, I
That
believe.
is a lot of bloaters.
Oh.
I am going this way.
That is a pod of bloaters.
That's a pod of bloaters.
Is what they're called here. A pod. We've got pods of bloaters, packs of ferals, and choirs of screamers.
Choirs of screamers. What would we call the double jugs that I...
Double jugs actually sounds like such a great term all by itself.
I believe that is a Costco of
Costco jugs. Perfect.
Yes!
Mark is also one of two infamous pun masters here at Undead Labs.
Hansel Adolo wants to know, was there some actual real-world research use for the weapons? Like, did we study real weapons? Did we fire real weapons to make sure we were ready to make them?
I mean, if anybody follows our Mark's and my Twitter feeds, you'll know that we do a lot of heavy research.
yes.
A lot of research. I mean, it started out, I grew up with guns, hunting and things like that. So I always saw them as a tool, and then they're an important part of the survival culture. Mm-hmm. And that just sort of dovetailed perfectly with
fall over.
Boom!
That
That's one of the greatest things we've ever put in a game. Right
Just the
there,
trip and
is
fall?
The trip and fall.
oh man, yes.
So Mills wants to know, are we going to make it so that if you go up to Nightmare Mode and lose your old boons from standard zones and then come back down again, will you get those boons back? So that was something that we didn't anticipate the strong need for, but there's a lot of people who've been saying something about it, and so that's on the list that we've been keeping of stuff we might be able to do in the future. We can't make any promises about it because it's hard to know what resources and opportunities we're going to have to make improvements to the game, but we know that's something that folks want. So it might not be possible. Like if you've already popped up to Nightmare Mode, we might have already lost the information that you used to have those boons, and it might be kind of too late for that particular community.
Bye, Fallout Girl. Thanks for stopping by.
See you later.
Yep.
But now that we've heard you guys say that, it is definitely on our list.
Yeah, that one. When that first came up, that was one of those. Oh,
Right.
crud.
Like we knew
didn't say crud.
Crud is the exact word we used.
we knew it was important, to challenge people at the higher difficulty levels to make sure that they couldn't just grandfather in their old boons, but we didn't go back the other direction. So sorry about that. So Mert Gulgan asks about the food calculations in the game. There's a lot of sort of interesting math that goes into the way that food works. So basically, there's a couple of different complicated things. When you're looking at your base and you're seeing how much food your community makes, it's expressed in food per day. But each time you actually get food delivered, it's delivered twice per day. It's delivered at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m., so you're only getting half of it at a time. And it's also prorated based on when the stuff that gives you food kicked in. So if you have something that kicks in extra food right at the end of the day, right before one of those drops, you'll get almost none of it at the next drop. You'll have to wait until you've spent a whole half day in the game with that bonus before you get the full benefit.
Did you guys all notice as soon as Jeffrey said math?
Yeah. Sorry.
The total veil of disinterest that.
I'll try to get through as fast as I can. So the main thing is, there is an explanation for why the math doesn't add up when you look at it, and we're sorry that wasn't as clear. I think there's nobody here who feels like, oh yeah, we really nailed expressing numbers to people and having them all make sense. Unfortunately, there isn't a great way for us to just change the whole thing and fix it right now. If anybody's got any great ideas for how to make it easier, lovely. But it's really hard to make it work right. But please, I promise, there is actually some rhyme and reason to it. It doesn't quite always make sense in the moment when you're reading the numbers.
Escape. I've answered this question like 3,000 or 4,000 times, but I will answer it for you. No, we will never give you, in State of Decay 2, we don't have plans to ever give you the ability to look through a sniper scope. And there's, the main reason being is that we're already loading too much in this game into memory. And if you look off in the distance, you'll see like textures down-resing so that we can continue to load all the stuff that's close to you. If we give you a sniper view, that means we're going to have to load the images or the textures that you're looking at a distance, and you will destroy the game. So no, we're not going to give you that ability. I know.
We don't want to destroy the game.
No, don't destroy the game.
No.
Why do you want to destroy the game, Escape?
Why do you hate our game?
Teague Bradshaw asked if we could get an in-game clock. That is another thing that's on our list. It's tougher than some of the other requests because it would require a new UI to be created and added to the screen, which it's a very precious and valuable resource around here. We only have a couple people who work on UI, and so it can be challenging to find the right time to do that when there's so many other things that those folks need to be worked on.
They are booked. They are in every meeting.
But we know that people want it, and so
Yes.
it's on our list, and hopefully at some point maybe we'll get the opportunity. And Leon Anagers, just stay tuned with your request. I'll leave that at that.
There you go. There you go.
Let me look back at some of these questions from Mark.
Look at that helmet.
Perfectly in the center of the back of your truck. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So Nightmaker 1979, who congratulations on turning 40 this year, wants to know, what is your favorite freak in the franchise?
Ooh, is there favorites really? I mean,
It's not that guy.
I actually kind of like the Screamer because he's got so little going for him.
Yeah,
Like,
the whole world is against the guy.
He's got no arms. He's got no jaw.
If there
All he
was
can
a
do is
Rob
sit there and
Halford
cry.
Screamer, I would love it.
I would watch every single one of his concerts too. I have a thing for Judas. I have a thing for Judas. So Mark just triggered me.
Run. Oh, it's got no door. That's not good. Meh.
Meh, indeed. So running over zombies is not as effective in Nightmare mode as it is in the others because your car takes so much damage from it. But luckily, this car also comes with the flame jets, which can help you out.
That helmet.
There's the helmet again.
Yep. Feature.
We wanted you guys to see it so much.
Game is perfect.
We just left it hanging in midair so nobody would miss it. Happy birthday, Ender Dash 441.
Cool. Paige Lemaster wanted to know, why does it seem like standard mode got more difficult after the update? So it's interesting. So sometimes when we release an update, accidental things happen, and it is completely possible for us to change the game by accident in a way that we don't announce, that makes it harder after an update. But actually, I believe that most of the time, what actually is going on is someone puts the game aside for a while. They don't play it for about a month. Then an update comes out and they hear about it, so they get the game back in again, and all of their skills have gotten rusty. And it feels like the game got harder when actually nothing about it changed. I've seen this myself when I'm playing other people's games. Is a lot of times, if I stay away from the game for a while and then I come back, suddenly I can't play on the level that I used to be able to play, and I'm like, did they change something, or is there something wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with anybody. It's just that's how it goes when you stay away from something for a while.
Let's see. Maximilian Kolbe says, if you feed and pet the ferals, they will become indoor ferals. Yes.
Yes.
They come and go as they please.
Yeah, so basically first they eat you,
Right.
and then they have the run of your house.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's absolutely
The petting
true.
part's a little tough. The feeding part of the ferals is
Oh,
really easy.
No. Nah.
Speaking of
You
indoor
had to call
ferals.
them into existence, didn't you?
Speaking of, now there's 3.
Oh, dude. So, to answer partially the original question, what's my favorite? Not these. Not these at all. The opposite of these.
Are we gonna have a full community wipe on
I
this
think
stream?
so.
There's your indoor ferals.
So Fallout, Blaze, and Maris, all of our hard work, eliminating all of those plague hearts. By our hard work, of course, I mean
It's not
me
safe to
doing
go
most
out
of the
alone.
work. Since I wasn't even playing. This is wow.
Oh boy, this is just not.
This is not going to end well.
I'm doing fine. Doing perfectly fine.
You know, for Nightmare mode, I wish we brought back the Blaze of Glory.
Oh yeah, so that you can save all of your other community members.
Why am I
Hey,
on
look
fire?
who joined the party. There's 3 screamers outside too.
Why was I on fire?
Jeffrey is dead. Well, there we go. That's how it goes.
Not for long. Now you're going to be having to fight. Oh wow.
Oh no.
She's already fighting them because we're at home.
Oh.
Oh, but I got an achievement for it, for getting our second death in Nightmare mode. Yep.
Oh, and look, the the next door neighbor Jug decided to join the party too. This is the most.
Wow.
Why are you doing so bad, Mark?
Why am I awful at this game?
Welcome
It's
to
so
Nightmare
terrible.
mode. That is one of the questions we had: is how many hours of State of Decay 2 do you
Clearly
play a
not
week?
nearly enough. I've killed everyone.
Mark's a really good gamer too.
So, Mike Becker, there's the answer to your question. Full community wipe.
I think I got killed by Jeffrey.
Oh, possibly so. Possibly, I was the Judas of your community. He doesn't spell his name like mine though. That
This
was
is true.
That was definitely Jeff
This is
Solt who
true.
ruined your community.
Here you go, Brant.
Blaze.
You're up.
Let's start a new one.
Start.
Blaze, please by all means jump into this game and help us.
So, to definitively answer the question of what is my favorite, so, I mean, I like the Jug because he's just a big, jolly guy.
Yeah.
I call it the Huggernaut.
He is hugs, not jugs.
My choice is not. If I
Yes,
have hug or not,
hugger,
I'm going to say not.
But The bloater has that trip thing, and it is the funniest thing. Like, come back, and oh no, he falls over, and it is. I laugh every time. So yes, it is the bloater, despite the fact that I've been killed by a bloater many a time. Bloater will not rip you in half.
Let's see. Where should we go?
Let's see.
Or just random?
Let's see. We were just in Meager Valley, right? So let's go somewhere besides Meager Valley.
Drucker.
Let's go Drucker. And
Or hi.
absolutely Nightmare Zone, yeah.
Now you guys can see how Nightmare Mode
See how
was
the pros do it.
how it's supposed to be played.
So, Awesome Twitch Dude has apparently, through some kind of modding thing, I don't know, has seen some grenades that are called should never be seen grenades and wants to know what they are. Do you know anything about that? I'm sure Brian probably does.
Brian probably knows. I do not.
A lot of the time, so I don't know what that specific thing is. A lot of the time, we will make fake weapons that help us test specific things. Like there's some particular aspect of weapons generally that we want to be able to test, but rather than having to cheat ourselves every single possible weapon or go through a lot of elaborate processes, we just make a weapon that does exactly what we need it to do for a particular test, just so we can see it in action at will whenever we need to. Yeah. And so whenever you see something like that,
it's like Brian is answering that question.
Oh, is Brian actually answering it in one?
So who do we get rid of? Because I don't need 2 craftsmen. Do we get rid of Bob or Jimena?
Oh man, Jimena's such a great name.
Okay, I'm keeping Jimena. Fulgencio. I like it.
So I think that's Jimena and Fulgencio. And Jayla's the odd woman out now.
We all know that I'm going to butcher any name you guys put in front of me.
I'm probably getting it wrong too. I'm just assuming things. I could be pretentiously mispronouncing these names.
John T, you should get in here too. I've watched your streams, man. Sis.
I don't suppose Lautenbach made it into the game.
P1.
I think Lautenbach is in there somewhere. Yeah.
We should probably just turn this over to our community and let them stream through this channel.
We should probably do co-op streams more often. That's I think that yeah.
Right. Please come, give us cool stuff because we're terrible and our communities die before we can build up anything cool.
Awesome Twitch Dude, if you're having trouble with the Pyro Minefield, stay tuned. I think we've got an answer for that. Can't tell you about it right now, but
see you, Sarkar.
Stick with it.
Blazes, I apologize for Fallout Maris and I that we didn't finish the legacy before we left. Yep, that's your fault. I'm blaming you.
Jackson Stange wants to know, who was our favorite character in State of Decay Breakdown? I kind of liked Walter DeGrasse because he was running around in that hazmat suit. You never saw his face. But I don't know. I also, I kind of snuck in there and named half of them after my kids, so I can't really choose any of them as a favorite because it would be...
what did you do to that truck, Brent?
That would be a problem. Wouldn't want to create jealousy.
Might have some frame issues on that.
Oh, no, it's fine. That's all cosmetic.
It's stock.
Plus,
Came that way.
It's got free air conditioning.
We get it, you vape.
This is what being around Mark is like all the time.
I should make a car called the Hot Box. It just does that all the time.
It just does all the time.
Just always smoke coming out of it.
That would have to be.
It raises morale when you're driving around in it.
A van/bus.
Yeah, it's got to be a version of the Wizard van, really.
Yes, exactly.
Vandolph.
Jean-Claude Van. We just crack ourselves up here.
Oh yeah, we're hilarious.
Van.
What just happened?
I do not.
Oh, I got hit by
Hello.
that. I got hit by Johnny Hides a lot.
That's his name.
Thanks for the help, backup crew.
No problem, guys.
No, you're doing fine.
The world's largest bastard.
We're just gonna watch you.
We're learning from the master, like you said earlier.
Vasinum 777 asks, will you be adding the ability to turn on lights during the day? Some bases are really dark. That's an interesting piece of feedback that I don't think anyone suggested that before. I'll make a note of it. I don't really know. I can't promise one way or the other, but I know we have lights in some of our facilities.
Yeah,
I don't know if we can
tied
really
to time of day, but that would actually, you should add that to the list.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that. That doesn't seem impossible, though. I mean, the people who actually build the facilities might tell me it's impossible.
No, I actually build the facilities.
That's true. I didn't know if you'd done that part of it, though.
I don't have that. I don't code, though, so it's a script that somebody just has to change. But
but maybe if it was just based on whether it was an indoor slot, or something like that.
could be.
Yeah.
I think it's easy enough to turn it on. I don't. The only issue would be like overlighting an area in the outdoors. So
Yeah.
maybe indoors is, but if it's really bright in here and we have lights on, we might actually wash out. But it's certainly something we should look into, because I agree.
Because this particular spot right now,
Like downstairs,
we're lit well enough in here, but
This
down
is
here it's ridiculous.
totally, yeah.
And so the question is, would the facility know if it's in a well-lit room or a dark room, and should it turn the lights on, and would that be a problem if it's in a bright room?
We'll make a note of that and see if there's something we can't do about that. So, all right, time to go get murdered.
Spectre Saunders wants to know, can you talk about building the story/lore of the State of Decay series?
Talk about it a lot. I mean,
Yeah, it's interesting because there was,
that's a stream in itself.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who were involved in that. I mean, the game, it had the first original game had a set of designers and writers who were contributing to the lore, and then the second game came around, and a lot of those folks were swapped out. I came in for the second game. Andy Collins came in for the second game. Actually, Andy and I joined for Breakdown and Lifeline, and started working on the lore then. And then there's been just more people in and out. Sometimes get pulled in for a particular expansion, and they add to the lore. It's just this big kind of group project. Lately, I think Andy Collins has been the person who is sort of the keeper of the lore. Who he is the one who, when we're adding something new to the game, he usually has the opportunity, because he's a lead writer, to examine it and examine what we're saying about the lore with that particular element. And it's kind of it's been his job to make sure that things agree with each other, and that sort of the deep lore stuff, the stuff that we know that we haven't revealed yet, that stays consistent, and that everything we write stays consistent with that, so that it's not contradicting itself and making a bunch of problems. And that's a hard job to do, because there's a lot of this lore to hold in your head. And each time you make a big change, like if Andy were to suddenly get hit by a bus or something like, or follow an opportunity to some other studio, which I'm sure would be what would happen. We would lose so much. We would lose so much because a lot of that is kept in his head. So I think at some point, as we keep moving forward with the franchise, we're going to have to probably establish some kind of very organized, because this franchise, as it gets bigger, it becomes bigger than any one person could manage. We're going to have to probably establish some kind of Bible of what the lore of State of Decay is, how this world works, and try to fill it with as many details as we've revealed, so that we don't end up contradicting ourselves. I know there's a lot of authors of major franchises out there who at some point they reach the point where it can't fit in their head anymore, and they end up polling their own fans to find out the answers to questions while they're writing the next book in their series or something like that, because they can't possibly hold it all in their heads. And we're going to be in that position too.
We should totally just hire Sailor Wolf, because he's spent years deep diving into all of the stories and red herrings and everything that we've done over the years. He's got a great sort of fan-made narrative for our game as well. That is not an obligation for us to hire you, Sailor Wolf.
Yeah, that was not a promise. We never promise anything on this stream.
This center is a good idea, but when have we listened to those?
No.
In
fact, we'll find the best idea and go the exact opposite direction. I'm kidding.
So Leon Anagers wants to know,
Watch out for buses, Sailor.
if we changed anything in Daybreak with the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update. So not consciously, we did introduce a bug where freaks no longer appear on the minimap, which is we've got it fixed at a build here. At some point, it'll be released in a future update, but So that definitely makes Daybreak harder. We didn't consciously do anything else, but it wouldn't surprise me if like subtle tweaks here and there might have crept in and made a difference. I don't know what those would be exactly though, and I don't think. And a lot of the folks who are talking about Daybreak having gotten harder, the one specific thing I've heard them point out is that they can't see the freaks on the minimap anymore. So if that's the cause, I think that makes perfect sense.
No.
Otherwise, we haven't been able to zero in on any one thing that would explain the impression people have gotten. But you're not the only one who got that impression.
Bringing back much needed stuff so that our survivors have a little hope before they're ruthlessly ended.
Ferret suggests that one thing that might be interesting, might be useful when managing legacy characters, is being able to see their inventories. Because a lot of folks, they use their legacy characters as mules to carry valuable supplies from one community to the next. And remembering who has what can actually be pretty hard. So that, I don't actually know. I know I've heard that before. I don't think I've actually got that in my official notes yet. So I'm going to take a note of that. No promises, as usual, because that's actually a very complicated piece of UI, particularly because the place where you're selecting your legacy survivors, it's this front-end piece of UI that doesn't already have an inventory interface integrated into it. We would have to make something new in order to be able to show you what those characters have on them. So that might be very difficult. But I'll make a note of it, and if we get the opportunity, it's we don't want to lose ideas like that if they're valuable. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can take this guy out before he does anything.
Mirror turbo.
I'm trying to go to the gun shop because, well, I don't have anything to shoot at people. Not people, zombies. Let's get that straight.
Former people.
People adjacent.
Huh. The last Uchiha 74 suggests that when they're a client in multiplayer, that they mostly just find parts everywhere, that they don't feel like they're getting enough good loot as a client. That's an interesting piece of feedback. I know that Brian is listening to this, and will probably appreciate hearing that. So I can't make any promises about that, but it's good. It's good to know that that's the experience you're having, because that helps us make improvements when we can.
Well, I mean, Nightmare. Wait.
Yeah, if you're playing in Nightmare, I think all the loot has gone down,
Yeah.
so that might be a partial explanation if that's the experience you're having lately.
But that wasn't supposed to affect like the probabilities in regular mode. So
Yeah. So Brian's response over on the Twitch chat is, So that's the answer that you got.
and he's tenting his fingers right
Yes.
now too.
He probably really is. That's what he's doing at his desk right now.
And going.
Undead Brian says Jeffrey is literally correct.
As per usual.
And Susan confirms that's actually what he did at his desk.
Hey, Undead Susan! Yay!
So,
Suzo!
So Trey Greypaws asks, can you tell me why screamers lost their arms? Why does anyone in this world lose their arms?
They hung out too close to Jugs, or they beat Chewbacca in a game of chess.
I don't know. So I think
yes, that is the correct answer.
in State of Decay Lifeline, Sasquatch asks that same question. He's like, why do we keep running into the same freaks all the time? You think if this is just random mutations that would be random. You just see different weird zombies all the time. You wouldn't see the same consistent species of zombies out there, that it feels like there must be some higher order involved. But he's never able to come to a solid conclusion on that in Lifeline. So that is a really interesting question you raise that we have not answered in any official way.
Oh boy. Just nothing's working out.
Hello, bloater.
My old friend.
I'm just watching the sunset.
You
Leave
just
me alone.
keep looking that way. Nothing to see here.
I could use some pants if you have any.
So
That's all he's doing is looking for pants.
So
For pants.
Rodan has a question. wants to know, is there a way that we can add some kind of screen to State of Decay 2 where we select who died in our State of Decay 1 game so that the radio messages from Lily can reflect that? So the radio message from Lily, the only time she mentions the characters from State of Decay 1, I believe, if I am not forgetting something, is in a message where she mentions a few of them by name and says, not all of my old friends are with us now. But, and she goes on, and she's very non-specific about who isn't with us anymore. And that's on purpose, because we didn't want to violate anybody's game. And so, and she could even be talking about a broader group of people, even people that she met after State of Decay 1, who might not be with us anymore. We tried to be as vague with that line as we possibly could, because we didn't want to violate the story that you had told in your game of State of Decay 1. And so that's why that's so vague, is so that your story would be valid. So in my opinion, if you kept all of your characters alive in State of Decay 1, Rodan, then they're alive in State of Decay 2. Like we did not, we didn't kill any of them off explicitly, at least not yet. That doesn't mean we won't in the future say that somebody's officially dead, but we haven't killed them off officially at this point. So please feel free to believe that they're alive. Well, whereas those of you who get them all killed, feel free to believe that they're dead.
Feel free. Enjoy.
We tried to leave that up to you. We wanted your experience in State of Decay 1 to be valid.
Let's see. She's still doing okay.
Interesting. Dell says that she's had the experience of getting hit by a feral and feeling like her character got stunned or somehow was unable to act right afterwards. And I'm not aware of that as being an intentional thing. So, that might be worth looking into. Or especially if you've got a video of that experience, sharing that with support.stateofdecay.com could be really useful for us tracking it down if that's a thing that's happening to you all the time. Because if your character isn't animating like they're intentionally being stunned, then it feels like that might be something that is not happening on purpose. But I can't.
Don't make Dell angry.
I can't promise one way or the other because I didn't work on that exact part of the game.
Oh, jeez.
What have you done?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Nice move.
Yeah. Totally threw him off.
On purpose.
That was amazing.
Oh boy. Really?
You do have Mr. Plow.
Oh wow.
But I don't. It will. I'll start smoking really fast.
Speaking of smoking, Chen420 says, I almost died once to a feral that stunned me for 10 seconds. So that seems like a serious problem. That feels like something we should look into. So we'll... and that was on a standard zone. So that's interesting. So I'll make a note of that.
I still take damage when I do the plow. Hi. Yeah, you can do that. Oh, no.
And again, if you've got a video of this happening and you can share it with support.stateofdecay.com, that would be really, really helpful.
For a zombie.
A lot of times somebody who's worked on a system can tell from watching it happen what might have gone wrong better than they can from a description.
Okay. Let's regain some stamina here. Look for food.
Right, so in a couple of minutes, we're going to do our giveaway.
Yay, giveaway.
So we've got a question all lined up. We've got some State of Decay pins ready to give out. So if you were about to leave, don't, because you might get free stuff.
Seeds for the garden. I hope to survive long enough to be able to build.
Thank you for breaking my heart, Jeffrey. That was from Reaper Rose. I'm not sure what you did.
What did you do?
That's what I do to everyone. Adam Survives wants to know with character creation in the randomizer, do all three slots use the same generator, or do they all have their own individual generator? They all use the same generator. So there's nothing like you're not going to be more likely to get a certain kind of character in the third slot than you get in the second slot or the first slot. They're all using the exact same character schemas. So if you were worried about that, feel free to feel as superstitious as you want to about it, but there's nothing technically that should make those characters different from each other.
Okay.
So,
do we have any more loaded Mark questions?
Let's see.
Loaded questions from Mark?
Oh, by the way, so how much influence do you have? Because we used to have a ton.
We have 195.
Okay, so yeah, so I was about to say, because we've got, now that I've earned earned through that mix pot all of the promotional items. We can get like new vehicles and things like that, but only if we have about 500 influence is what they cost. So. Here. Well, we did have just one compliment from Amanda Gamer Girl, who said, "Just want to say I have huge respect for you and your work. I've enjoyed every game that has been brought out by you guys. You guys rule." So
Thank you.
I
Thank
will
you.
take that.
Thank you.
I will take any compliment we can get.
yeah, I am especially a fan actually of the work that went into the buildings and things like that in this game because
Yeah.
I mean,
so
the fact
we're looking at
Mark's work right here.
Mark's work right here, and Mark had to. There's a lot of work that goes into these buildings that you don't necessarily see.
Yeah, it's really easy to just sort of breeze by stuff. Like your brain gets laser focused on your goals when you're playing a game, right? You're looking for the containers and you're looking for the zombies and you're looking to keep your character alive, and you're not necessarily stopping to sniff the roses. But if something was bad, you would notice it.
You kind of notice, and you're like, what exactly does a industrial ceiling look like? So you spend a lot of your day just looking at walls and floors and people looking at you like you're an idiot. But you're looking, it's like, rust spots and, weird little...
Yeah, that's how those things
dents
get dirty over time and various other things.
And imagine, like, what would this look like if no one had been taking care of it for, 2 years or whatever?
So Rodan had a question that I'm not sure. We might not be able to get into any of this because we're not really talking about the upcoming Trumbull Valley content. But they want to know: are you guys actually working on the Trumbull Valley content right now?
Right now.
Right now
I'm
we're
sitting
streaming.
here playing the game.
But yeah, it wants to know if
Cool.
if Mark is doing that kind of that stuff, or if he's working on something else mysterious.
I am working on all the things, some of which
Might
I
apply.
can talk about and some of which I can't.
So yeah, we can't tread too far in that direction because there's too much risk of us saying something out of turn that we shouldn't. But you can tell we want to. We're excited about the work that we're doing. We want to be able to talk about it, but unfortunately, there's a limit to what we can say.
So Adam Survive says, Mark, your face is well balanced in primo head shape. Thank you.
That's the nicest thing.
I've never heard that compliment before, and I will take it.
And
Primo head shape on my
Primo.
resume.
I like that.
So
Primo head shape.
Blaze Experience wants to know if you worked on the lock and key base in Cascade Hills.
Yes, I did.
Because he says that is one of his favorites. He says, I love the entire aesthetic of that base.
Making that dinosaur on top, I assume that was a James creation originally.
It looks like a James piece of art, yeah.
But yeah, that just working on stuff like that just makes my day. And just like, it needs to look like a really shoddy plywood dinosaur.
It's weird when, like, at least I imagine it might be weird when your job is to do a good job making something that was badly made in fiction of the world.
Yes. Well, like sometimes in some of the houses, I'm like, let's say this person has a really bad taste. And so you've got like, garishly red wallpaper on top of a carpet that should not go together. And
Yeah, I once rented a room from someone who fancied themselves an interior designer, and every room was a different primary color with like weirdly painted stuff on the walls. There was like a rainbow hall, and then there was like I think I stayed in a room. I think the walls were blue, and they had arrows pointing down and across and around, like just big arrows. It was like a giant Visio flowchart. And then the window had like a window treatment that had arrows hanging down from it as well. And it was like being in someone's surreal nightmare. Blaze Experience wants to know from you guys, what goes into making an Easter egg when you decide you want to make one?
We just decide we want to make one.
The best
we
Easter
have
eggs...
spare time.
Yeah.
It won't negatively affect people. Like, it doesn't require any time other than us going,
Yeah.
Get away from my
Like,
base, people.
You'll notice that most Easter eggs are of the sort that can be made by a single person. Like, you won't see typically an Easter egg that involves art and animation and writing in VO.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because at some point a producer's going to be like, no, do something important.
Yeah. We don't get sign off from that. We just do it, right? And so that is definitely a situation where where we just put it in if we got the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, so like each of us has like sort of our little area where we get a lot of sort of creative discretion. Like nobody is like piecing through all of the bulletin boards in a room just to make sure that everything, that there's no Easter eggs in there, because no one cares. Of course, having Easter eggs is a good thing. Like everyone appreciates. If you're gonna have to put a bunch of clutter in a room, if some of it is Easter eggs, it's not any more expensive, so no one's gonna have a problem with it. So you just put whatever you want in there,
make
right?
it anyway. You might as well
make it fun, right?
Yeah.
And same thing, it's like when I'm working on the nickname list. A lot of the nicknames are Easter eggs. And I've got to put some nicknames in there, so might as well do nicknames that are references to things and remind me of stuff and make me laugh, and because, why not do that? And so hopefully you guys end up, benefiting from that and enjoying that too.
nice.
So I had to draw away the blood horde from my base because they were about to attack, and then I popped both those bloaters with my face.
Nice.
So, but I'm not dead.
Oh, I never did. Oh, guys, I forgot to do the trivia. Let's do it quick before we run out of time. Okay,
You do have
so
Purple Riot going,
we've got a choose your own apocalypse trivia question here. So you guys ready? So there was a gun that used to be extremely rare that now is possible to get if you're killing enough plague hearts at the high difficulty levels. So the question is, name the super rare 1022 rifle that is now dropping from plague hearts in the Nightmare Zone. So name the super rare 1022 rifle that is now dropping from plague hearts in the Nightmare Zone. And if you get it right, what's going to happen is Megan's going to look at all the people who got it right, the first like dozen or so people in each channel who got it right, and she's going to make a random choice among those people, because we don't want your internet connection to determine whether you win. We want it to be a little bit more fair than that, so we're doing some stuff. Megan, feel free, if they get the name a little bit wrong, that's probably okay, because it is kind of an interesting, complicated joke. But we're going to go back to playing while Megan's tallying up the answers, because it looks like we've got a fair number of people who are getting the answer.
So it looks like we've got some factions. We got the
Oh, yeah, that's true. We got some folks who are giving a different answer than I expected.
Mixer and Twitch seem to be...
Yeah, like Mixer's got a favorite and Twitch has got a favorite.
Yes.
And I think
Right.
Mixer might be more correct.
So everyone look at Mixer and see what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've already probably gotten our dozen people to select from anyway, so don't mind giving some hints.
Nothing more to find here.
Oh, interesting. Naya Cyan asks, any word on plague juggernauts being included in the stat count in the achievement section? I thought they were counted. If that's not happening, that's a bug that we need to address. I'm going to make a note of that. Thank you. Because I thought we actually consciously did that. I'm surprised that's not working. So, yeah, that's good to know. Thank you, Naya Cyan, for bringing that up.
Declaring this location set free.
So Russ Sullivan says, I have a character who can hold 9 consumables. They have a chance to get to 10, but before I attempt it, like he's talking about 9 consumables per stack, because there's a lot of buffs that can increase the number of consumables
That's
you can
crazy.
hold in one stack. The question is, can you get to 10? So I don't know if that UI supports a 2-digit number, but I mean, I don't think we would have put
They do for ammo.
cap
so
on that.
The space
Oh,
is
that's
there.
true. No, it is there. Yeah, you're right. Ammo can. Yeah, I see no reason why you should assume that it couldn't go higher than 9. You're absolutely right, because we show that number can be really high for ammo. So yeah, so if that number
As far
can get
as
up there,
my math
go for it.
goes, that second digit is my cap.
It's the cutoff.
Yep.
So
So
please go to and seriously, if you get to 10, please like tweet it at me or something at Rangatang, because I want to see the 10 stack on somebody's inventory. That's amazing.
So poor Jayla played out in the cul-de-sac and paid the ultimate price. I mean,
Aw.
she just got beat up. Let's find out exactly what happened to her. I guess I need to go. Not there.
She break a clavicle.
Rodan wants to know if we're going to get any new leader types. The problem with leader types is that they don't just come with stats. Like, there's a lot of... What is going on over there?
She is missing
A
chunk
chunk
of
of
flesh.
Nice.
We will not be more specific. Chunk of flesh.
Which chunk?
Which
I don't
chunk? Who knows? Does it matter at that point because it's bad?
So we keep adding stuff like things like traits and skills and hero bonuses because they're just data. Like we can add a fair number of those and it doesn't make a big difference. A leader type comes with a facility, which is a bunch of art. It comes with a mission, which includes a bunch of recorded voiceover dialogue. Adding a new leader type is actually a ton of work for lots of people. It's one of the most expensive things we could possibly add in the game.
Bilbo, I'm the chunk she's missing.
I hope I answered your question,
That's
Rodan.
awesome.
I think I've lost the thread.
That's
Sorry.
good. That's good.
Oh, hey, it looks like we got some winners. So
winners?
let's go back and reveal this answer here. So the answer to the question, which Mixer got in spades, and a few people over on Twitch were getting, is the fake A47.
AK-47.
Yeah.
Fake A47 is one of my favorite names of anything in this game. It is the best. I assume it comes from somewhere, right? Like people use that term.
Yeah, I mean, the 1022 is one of the most easily.
You could turn that thing into almost anything.
It's the most easily modded firearm out there.
Yeah.
And there's mom and pop shops putting out all kinds of do your own alien guns and everything under the sun. And so
bull barrels and every little collapsible, everything.
one of the
Everything
first
you
things that people did with that was turn it into the poor man's AK-47 by adding a banana clip and whatever.
Well, who wants to know who the winners are? It looks like on YouTube, our winner is Russ Sullivan. So congratulations, Russ Sullivan. On Mixer, a lot of people to choose from, and Career Buzzard was the winner. So congrats, Career Buzzard. And then over on Twitch, someone who stood out from the crowd, Glass Babies. Glass Babies is winning one of these. So thanks, Megan, for tallying all of those winners, and congratulations to you guys. And so you're going to get this pin. Megan's going to try to contact you. Please don't disappear. And make sure that you guys get in contact. So we've got about 3 minutes left.
And Glass Babies, we all want a Bronto jacket.
Well, you know how
I
to
wish
use
I
those
had a
last 3
Bronto
minutes.
jacket.
I don't need that. I need building materials and repair kits because I hit a blade of grass with my truck, with my snow plow truck,
Mr. Plow,
and he went from vaping to burning.
Nice.
he's stepping up.
There we go. Did you guys see me use the? Oh, hello.
What did you do?
Did you guys see me use the technique of get out of the? No, don't jump up. Oh no.
You gotta see the technique.
This is a bad technique.
So T5K wants to know, will we ever get to buy the pre-order packs that we missed? I have no idea if that's ever going to be made available for purchase. Right now, they're really valuable to us because we might have a few of those codes left that maybe at some point we could give away to people. And that could be kind of special. So right now, we don't have any plans. So we'll just have to see what the future holds.
Don't get tired. Don't get tired.
Snacks.
Oh, just lie down and take a nap. It's fine.
Eat some chips.
I was about to say, did you guys like how I used the zombie bowling technique
Zomboling is best.
to manage the crowd, but then I got overwhelmed and yeah.
I was trying to use it and I just panicked so badly that it did not end well, as you saw, with all the murder.
Well, you only had 47 freaks at the same time.
It was a freak fest. Freakapalooza?
It's like you sold tickets, yeah.
Yes.
Now, hopefully there's a repair kit in here. If Brian is not a mean person, there's a repair kit in here. If he is, there's screws.
So I think we got time for one last question. So Dell Z Slayer wants to know, are there any particular buildings that were modeled on specific buildings that are out there in the world somewhere?
The exteriors from the original were modeled after reference that we found that fit with the Faded Americana stuff. But then anything after that, that's...
There's a lot of Frankensteining going on. It's like, oh, I like that porch from that building, or I like this particular archway. The floor of the police station is taken from an actual police station.
Oh, really?
which as I made it, I then was playing some other random game, saw the exact same police floor. It's got this weird kind of square style on the floor.
Is it like baby blankets where it's like everyone uses the exact same kind of blanket? And
I think it's like
every police station's got the
Google,
same.
police station, and the first page is probably the most replicated.
That makes sense. So it doesn't always involve a lot of like traveling around and like finding a police station and getting the police to let you in the jail cells so you can find out what they look like.
Not so much of that.
No, I mean, Mark's seen plenty of the inside of jail cells.
Yeah,
so-
I don't need more research on that foot.
Well, on that note, I think we're about out of time. So thank you so much to Brant and Mark for coming in here and playing the game with us, chatting with all you folks, and telling us about the art of State of Decay 2.
Well, all I will say is thank you all for taking time out of your day to come hang out with us. because
Absolutely. We really appreciate it.
We couldn't do it without you, and you know the drill. Love you guys, and thanks for the support.
Yep. And so you can, contact us at support.stateofdecay.com if you've got any problems. You can also bother me and Brant on Twitter. And Mark, too. And all that stuff's going to be down in the description on the YouTube video. And with that, we will see you all later.
Bye. Can I make it home without dying is the question on everyone's mind.
That is a
You've
very
made
good
it
question.
much farther than I did.
Yeah, but I also started a new community, so it's a little nicer.
That text that's on the screen is not really accurate anymore. It's from the last time I used this presentation.